Hello, WrestleNet Radio, and welcome. It's Friday night. I'll be as apathetic as Jim Ross is about AEW. The guy sounds so unexcited every week. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. He's just so he doesn't even give a shit. He's just there for the paycheck. But anyway, as you can hear, Nate Maxon here with you, and I am joined by Mr. Archie Mitchell. Hello, sir.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Nate?
We are, of course, talking about 25 years ago, the news, notes, results from 25 years ago in professional wrestling. And I want to thank Archie's arch nemesis, John Majewski, for joining me last week on the show.
He still hasn't answered my challenge. He still won't answer my tweets, my text messages, my pages. Yes, we still have pagers. He's just totally ignoring me. So, John Majewski, I have one last challenge for you. You come on either the slice of time or come on the art if you smell what the art is cooking, or whatever show you want to come on. I challenge you to the ultimate cook-off in a microwave. We'll see who could make the better feud in your so-called magic microwave, Mr. Majewski.
You said pager, so I just picture you going, look, Majewski. When your pager beeps 316,
yeah,
that means Archie 316 just cooked a better hot pocket.
So yeah, the thing I love about this show, Nate. I mean, it cracks me up, but you make me go back and watch snippets of old wrestling because you talk about it, and then I laugh about it and rethink about it, and then when I'm bored and my insomnia kicks in, I'm either on Peacock or YouTube finding what we talked about.
Me too.
You know what I mean? Or looking up old PWI magazines to check out the back to see who was the champion in the Indies that week, just to see who's going to come up on a show.
Well, we'll definitely have the indie results. I've got some here this week. They are locked and loaded.
My guilty pleasure for the indie, results in the back of PWI and all the wrestling magazines. The Boston Madman Tony Rumble. And he was always in ECWA, and he'd either be the champion one week or he'd be challenging for the title one week. And that was always the guy. Like, why isn't he on television? Why hasn't anybody signed this guy yet?
In the early days, he was in the early days of ECW commentating with Joey Styles and managing Taz, as weird as that is. But I think he since passed away. I'm pretty sure.
I believe he passed, and for a little while his son was wrestling under the same monarch to keep the legacy alive. But then with indie wrestling in that area that they were wrestling in kind of dying out a little bit, he just he said, you know what, my dad would just want his legacy to go out on a good note.
Right.
So.
Well, this week we are going to start off back then, this was the big story of the week. Now, the biggest story of the week historically is this is the week we are talking about the King of the Ring 1996 with the legendary Austin 316 promo, so we will dig into that. But the big story this week, 25 years ago, was that the WWF and WCW, they weren't fighting in the ring, they weren't fighting on TV, they were fighting in the courtroom. The wrestling war moved into the courts last Thursday when the WWF filed a lawsuit accusing WCW of defamation, slander, trademark infringement, and unfair competition. As part of their complaint, they sought an immediate temporary restraining order against further use of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash in ways that could deceive or confuse the wrestling public into thinking the WWF was affiliated with their ongoing WCW storyline. And we talked about this a few weeks ago. About Eric always saying that was not their intent.
Right.
Let's see here. Chief U.S. District Judge Peter C. Dorsey heard both sides argue in his courtroom Monday afternoon, June 24th. He set aside 2 hours to hear their arguments, and by the end was neither convinced that the WWF deserved a temporary restraining order or convinced that their request should be thrown out. Instead, he said he'd prefer to settle the issue after giving both sides more time to present their cases. So,
basically, the court case, the first court case, ended like an episode of Nitro or Raw would. Join us next week for more.
Join us next week for more of this courtroom. That's funny. It's like a cliffhanger.
Right.
Wanted to see if I could get if there were any Let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's the actual like details of the. Okay, let's see. The WWF contends in the lawsuit. WCW thereafter, or okay, the lawsuit tells. Let me see here. Sorry, I lost my place. The lawsuit's introduction sets the table, establishing the ownership and management of WCW and the WWF. Then it tells of the WWF's history. The creative genius in the development and portrayal of distinctive characters and personas is effectively the principal method by which the WWF competes with the enormous financial and network power of TBS. Unlike the WWF, WCW has no reputation for creativity in developing and then promoting wrestlers as distinctive characters and personas.
What?
You can tell Jerry McDevitt wrote all this. The lawsuit then tells of TBS's failed attempts to purchase the WWF or work with the WWF on inter-promotional events because of the WWF's desire to remain an independent, family-owned business promoting its own product. WWF contends in the lawsuit. WCW thereafter began systematically copying virtually everything done by the WWF, raiding its talent, pawning off the WWF's reputation, and infringing Titan's rights. The suit establishes that Hall and Nash previously worked for WCW under different and relatively obscure personas, but their contracts were not renewed in May 92 and June 93, respectively. This is a lot. The WWF said upon their hiring of Hall, they developed a unique name, persona, and trade dress, including a Hispanic accent, slick back hair and a ponytail with a curl at the front, a toothpick in his mouth, multiple chains around his neck, razor blade jewelry or razor blade designs on his clothing, wrestling shorts, a vest, wrestling boots, and elbow and knee pads. The WWF said the persona of Diesel included a goatee-style beard and mustache, black leather pants, a black leather vest decorated with silver studs and tassels, a black low-cut tank top shirt, a black fingerless glove on the right hand, black elbow pads, black wristbands, and sunglasses, and black leather boots. Wow. This is detailed.
So a biker.
Yeah. So here's always been my thing here, and I think that's, it pretty much it's like, here we go. False. WWF said that the false and misleading descriptions and misrepresentations of fact will cause Titan to lose control over the quality of its services and will injure Titan's reputation for the production and delivery of the highest quality wrestling entertainment services. Essentially, here's the thing. All right, did we establish a couple of weeks ago that Bischoff probably did do that intentionally? Yes. And then when lawsuits started coming down, they did the thing at the Great American Bash where he said, do you work for the WWF? No. Do you work for the WWF? No.
Right.
To establish it on TV because he saw this shit was hitting the fan. Right. However, I've always contended that in this respect, Vince in 1996, God bless him, but he was butthurt because Bischoff was doing the same shit to him that Vince was doing to the territories in 1984. Right. It's not like Vince hadn't done the same damn thing 10 years prior.
And, coming from a guy who a year prior structured the Billionaire Ted whole fiasco with the Nacho Man and the Huckster, making fun of them, and only stopping because the USA Network themselves said, hey, this isn't what we want, stop doing it. It had nothing to do with WCW trying to, sue them or anything. And then on top of that, you created Razor and Diesel. So what do you do after you file this lawsuit? You bring back Razor and Diesel, but under different characters.
Right.
Under different people. And almost kill Glenn Jacobs' whole career. So, I think this was Vince grasping at straws.
It was. And I know that his business was in trouble at this time. There's no doubt about it. 95 had been the least successful financial year in that company's history.
Right.
So yes, like he is grasping at straws. He is, and he's also making himself look to be a hypocrite.
Right.
Again, but given the situation he was in, I mean, desperate times, desperate measures.
And I get that, and more power to him, because for those couple years that WCW started running them over, he held them at bay as best as he could until Austin 316 and DX and the Nation and all these other Attitude Era guys popped up, and rammed it back down Bischoff's throat. To the point where Bischoff got fired, and then they brought in Russo, and then the whole company just went by.
Kaput.
You know what I mean? Now, I don't know whether that would have happened, whether, when Ted Turner sold to Time Warner and did what he did, that whole deal and whatnot, that still might have happened. We don't know.
Right.
WCW still might have been, well, we don't want wrestling on our channel anymore, and might have been without a home. But Vince held them at bay for as best as he could with whatever he did. He had hog farmers and, blue bloods and, everything else, God bless them. Plumbers and hockey guys and mantars and everything. But, to say WCW was ripping off their intellectual property and they were pretending they were from the WWF. Mm-hmm. But that was the way Scott Hall dressed and talked. That was the way Kevin Nash dressed and talked. You cannot tell somebody, now speak with a different voice because you sound like you did when you worked for me.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way.
Well, and to show you, and we are joined, ladies and gentlemen, by my brother, Aaron Maxson is here. Hello, Aaron.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
To show you that Vince, this is kind of the petty part. They never did this. They never did this in '94 when Hulk Hogan went to WCW and was just acting like Hulk Hogan in the WWF.
He's wearing red and yellow. Make him wear pink and white.
He's saying brother. He's saying brother, brother.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan comes out the next week in jet black and gold. Let me tell you something, cousin. That just wouldn't have flown. But
let me tell you something, blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we'll roll on from that. And Aaron, you are joining us now as we are talking about the week that was this past week, 1996, 25 years ago. And this is the week of, and we'll just get into it now. The next thing we'll discuss, the King of the Ring pay-per-view, June 23rd, 1996. We'll go through the results. Everybody knows, anybody that's a wrestling fan has seen this pay-per-view. But we will definitely talk about the impact that this show had on the future of the business, and especially the business in the WWF. And I want to say that right off the bat, Owen Hart is fantastic in commentary in the show.
Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is. Owen Hart was good at whatever he did.
I believe he says that Jake is 67 years old.
Yeah.
It's a great number because it's just random, you know what I mean? Like, like he's a 90-year-old man or whatever. He's just like, he's 67.
He was channeling his inner Bobby Heenan during the show, I think.
It wasn't even like a round number or anything.
Right.
No, 67.
He probably had it on his notes. Owen, call Jake old. And then he just spitballed. Jake's 67 years old. And Vince was like, that's gold.
The opening match, of course, of this pay-per-view, Stone Cold Steve Austin pinned Wildman Mark Marrow. Austin gets a nice busted fat lip during this show and during this match, and it ironically adds to the mystique of him winning the tournament. The picture the picture of him on the cover of Raw magazine with the busted lip and coming back out, it puts a little stank on the fact that he's a badass. And
if the urban legends were true, they had to take him out of the building to go get stitched up or whatever, and he came back.
This wasn't your typical wrestling storyline, like when Sting got injured by Lex Luger and had to be taken away to a medical. No, Austin literally went to the hospital, stayed 2 hours while they stitched him up, and then they said, "Okay, go back and fight Jake now."
Yeah, The second match, of course, Jake Roberts beat Vader by disqualification to advance to the finals, setting up our it's funny. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute. The Smoking Guns, managed by Sonny, beat the Godwins to retain the WWF Tag Team titles. These two teams worked a lot together in '96.
Right, and Sonny was always in the middle.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
I knew Aaron would like that.
I like Cowgirl Sonny. Good stuff.
I did too.
Yep. Jerry Lawler came out to the ring to have his match with the Ultimate Warrior. Let's see. Lawler, of course, here's some of the lines as he's walking to the ring. Jerry Lawler coming to the ring has more heat than the match. because of the insults. Nice to see you off the streets, to two girls. Looked at another couple girls and said, it's girls like you that turn men into, well, people like gold dust.
Oh, God.
Let's see. Of course, is that your face or did your neck throw up that line? Points at another guy. He says, I saw him in the bathroom getting a drink of water and the toilet lid fell on him. He said to a fat girl, when you wear blue, do people try to mail letters in you?
Yeah, that's a great
God.
line. I like that line.
Things
I was
that
going to
wouldn't
bring that one
fly
up.
today.
I was like, that's great.
Things that wouldn't fly today.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Warrior pinned Lawler at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, mercifully.
Right, because the Warrior match couldn't last over 5 minutes in this day and age.
No. Of course, Mankind beat The Undertaker with the mandible claw. We've got the we're leading towards the Paul Bearer heel turn, which we'll get to in August, I guess. But a great match here between these two guys, and like we've discussed, or I don't remember if we discussed it or if me and John discussed it last week. Mankind at this time, you'd never really seen anybody take it to Undertaker, on a consistent basis like he did.
He humanized The Undertaker for the first time in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He made him look like just a normal guy. And you could say, well, Giant Gonzalez did that. Yeah, but then 2 days later, The Undertaker was right back to fighting him.
Exactly. That's why I said consistently. Yeah.
When Mankind beat up The Undertaker, he was gone for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely a change from the norm.
Anything on that, Aaron?
Just that it's going to sound silly when I say it, but like he was almost the first like non-goofy gimmick that was.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't want to say it. Mankind, the deranged guy living in the basement, psychopath man or whatever. It's ridiculous, but it could be a real thing. Like there could be really a psycho that was beaten by his parents and
As
all
a pet
this other
rat, yeah.
a pet rat, as opposed to a big lumbering Giant Gonzalez or a Ugandan headhunter or
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the only other guy would be Yoko. Would be the only person that was, I think,
believable. Yeah.
There's a big-butted Samoan guy that might be able to beat up The Undertaker.
And then, of course, Steve Austin beat Jake Roberts to win the King of the Ring. 4 minutes and 45 seconds. The match is nothing to write home about, but in the grand scheme of things, is that match one of the most important matches ever?
Well, a little known fact, it was supposed to be Triple H that won this King of the Ring, but he was being punished because of the curtain call. So they turned around and looked at Austin and said, hey, guess what? What? You're going to win the King of the Ring. And he was like, oh, okay. And all he had to go through that night was going out and getting his lip, stitched up and come back. And Jake wasn't in the best of health at this time. Yeah, it was a turning point. I wouldn't say in the Monday Night War because we're still a year away from the ratings suggesting that the war was finally back up and burning at full speed.
We're over a year away, yeah.
Yeah, but it changed Austin's career, it changed booking, and it allowed Vince McMahon to see that not all of his stars have to be 6'6" and muscular and Hulk Hogan. He can rely on anybody on his roster, and if he just gives them a moment, they'll take it and run with it.
Yeah.
And it's also, a lot of people don't think about it too. It's like they did it, like Steve did this promo and Steve became the King of the Ring and all that. And you could see that it was something, but it wasn't like, oh, okay, now we just have to go with this guy now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was a slow, like, to me, and we're going to eventually talk about it, and we're going to talk about it when we do my next show about the year that was. To me, this is important, and it's Steve Austin showing that he can talk, because they really didn't let him talk much, because whatever.
Right.
But this is important. But I think the '97 Royal Rumble is more important for Steve Austin than this, honestly.
Well, all of '97, because when
Yeah.
Brett comes back and says the person I'm coming back to fight is Steve Austin because he's the best wrestler in the world right now, that pretty much put the stamp on Austin to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Win or lose that feud with Brett, Austin was the next guy. It was the next,
Right.
the next man.
I just like the fact that and it's something wrestling doesn't have anymore. They had patience. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep. And then also, in the main event of this show, Shawn Michaels.
Also Vince Russo trying to say that he was like,
Nope.
well, I told him you say Austin 316.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Michael Hayes even says in interviews and Triple H that was a totally spare of the moment. Oh my God, where the hell did you come up with that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That was not planned by anybody, not even Austin.
And look at that. If you let your wrestlers cut their own promos,
right?
Yeah, it might be money. Shawn Michaels pinned the British Bulldog at 25-26 in the main event. This was a really good match.
Yes.
Like I said a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about it. This feud actually is, to me, these guys have fantastic matches together. They, regardless of whether or not, Shawn was being an asshole at the time. Bulldog and Michaels, I always enjoyed watching them wrestle each other. And this match was no different with Mr. Perfect as the referee. And then afterwards, of course, Owen Hart and Vader come out, would try to do a beatdown on Shawn Michaels. Michaels is saved by Ahmed Johnson and the Ultimate Warrior.
Now,
sorry.
No. Go ahead, Aaron. I'll go after.
I was just going to say, Shawn was an asshole at this time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ever notice, in matches, Shawn was only an asshole with people that he knew weren't going to be able to do whatever they wanted to do with him.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that Shawn Michaels probably weighed what? I mean, they introduced him at like 215 or whatever.
Right.
Probably weighed 175, 185 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And Bulldog can't just do whatever he wants with Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like,
well,
Davey was a goofball.
Bulldog and Shawn were buddies at this time, though, because this was not that far after the Shawn got his ass kicked by the Sailors, and Bulldog was there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So they were kind of, even if he was acting like an asshole, Bulldog expected it. My problem with this feud was, and I love Bulldog, God rest his soul, and I am a Shawn Michaels mark. Mm-hmm. Diana Smith had no business being involved in this feud. We did not need her to say, Shawn Michaels tried to hit on me in order to get this feud ignited. Bulldog and Shawn wrestled as tag team wrestlers, as singles wrestlers for the Intercontinental title, and now for the world title.
It is funny though.
However,
why would I do that?
I do think it's funny. I don't know why, but I always laugh when Diana Hart goes, Shawn Michaels, I know you want me. And then Shawn
Michaels is like,
Mrs. Smith, do not flatter yourself.
Yeah.
But she's just like, I know you want me.
Shawn's like, I got Sonny backstage. I don't need you.
All right. Well, that's the King of the Ring, and like I said, I mean,
she is like the cousin monster, though.
she's the only one that's actually attractive.
Yeah, somewhat decent looking. All the other ones got like flat heads and big faces.
There's that one Aaron always calls Lady Brett. I don't know which one of the sisters that is.
I believe that's Natty's mom.
Yeah. How did Jim Neidhart and Lady Brett have like attractive daughters? Like even Natty's sisters that are in the business are like good looking women. It's like, how did that happen?
What I want to know is how did everybody that Bret Hart's sisters marry end up being one of his best friends?
What I want to know is, did Jim Neidhart have a George thing going on?
Right.
Like Seinfeld, like when he dates the girl that looks like Jerry.
Yeah. One night after a match, he looks at Bret. I really love you, Bret. Well, listen, I don't swing that way, but I got a sister who
I
looks
got a
just
sister
like
who looks
me.
just like me.
And Jim was like, I'm on board.
Same haircut, everything.
She's a dead ringer, eh?
And I promise you will produce a girl who can wrestle just like me.
All right, let's see. We don't have a ton of WWF backstage news this week. Let's see. Louis Spicolli, i.e. Rad Radford, was granted an unconditional release from the WWF. Although McMahon is said to be unhappy with the way he portrayed his final months in the WWF in a recent Torch Talk, the main omission the WWF felt was unfair regarded Spicolli not being able to work for ECW. The WWF says they have become more strict in recent months with letting wrestlers under contract work third-party dates without going through the WWF first. They are concerned that if a wrestler under contract is involved in a lawsuit on an independent card, the WWF could be held liable. I understand that. Therefore, Spicolli only gave the WWF 24 hours notice regarding wanting to work for ECW. Plus, the plan was for Spicolli to work as Rad Radford and get annihilated. ECW was then going to draw attention to what happens to WWF wrestlers when they go extreme. Spicolli would then be repackaged. Although they turned down Radford's request to work the WWF date before hearing about ECW's plan, the WWF especially didn't want to give permission to have their intellectual property portrayed like that. So Louis Spicolli's out. He's out of the WWF.
He opened his
So
mouth.
it's like, hold on. We don't want our intellectual property Rad Radford to be treated as a jobber. That's some other show.
He's a jobber on our show, damn.
Jobber on our show.
Oh,
Nobody's going to job our guys out. Only we will.
yeah.
That's
Now
funny.
get in here and lose to Chris Candido for the 100th time.
June 27th in Louisville, Kentucky features Michaels versus Vader on top. Let's see here. During an America Online interview, going way back there, gentlemen. America Online.
You've got mail.
You've got mail. Hunter Helmsley echoed the legitimate thoughts of many WWF wrestlers regarding the push of Brian Pillman. Hunter said they made a big deal of his contract signing on Monday. I say big deal. Who cares? I am sick and tired of this war with WCW allowing for guys to come in the door thinking they are something because they made a little name for themselves someplace else. If you have never been to the big dance and proven yourself there, then when you come in the door of the WWF, which no matter what anybody says is the big dance, then you start out on the ground floor just like everybody else. Until these people, including Brian Pillman, and we all know everybody else who I mean, prove themselves as main event draws that bring people to arenas, they have proven nothing to me. They should be forced to prove themselves. So essentially, Hunter here is
he's burying Mark Nero without burying
yeah,
Mark Nero.
yeah, and he is
Right.
also in the doghouse, therefore
Right.
sucking the teat very hard
Mhm.
to show Vince, look at me, Vince.
Well, he's still doing that to this day.
Yeah.
You know, NWA announced they're having a women's tournament. He went out and decided to say the best wrestling women are in WWF, WWE, and if you want to wrestle them, you need to come here. Like, okay, but there's other women's wrestlers all around
Right.
the world.
But that's Hunter. And you know, Hunter is, we won't get too deep in the weeds on this, but even back then, right here, Hunter, if there's anything you can say for him, two things. First,
Company man.
Well, yes, company man, and very, very, I don't know, and I know he learned from Sean, and he learned from Kev, and he learned from Scott, but I think he may have surpassed each and every one of them as a politician.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that guy politicianed himself to the throne room. You know what I mean? Like, he's
Yeah.
the
Him
ultimate-
and him and Hulk Hogan.
Yep. Him and Hogan.
Listen, Vince, I got an idea for a story. It'll get me back in your good graces. Okay, what's that? I'm going to marry your daughter on screen. All right, let's try it out. 2 years later, Vince, I'm really marrying your daughter.
I'm putting
All
it to
right.
your daughter nightly, Vince.
Right.
All right, here we go. WWF on the road. I've only got one show here for this week, June 22nd in Winnipeg, Manitoba at the Winnipeg Arena. The WWF held an event in conjunction with the Red River Exhibition, a fair held outside the arena. The best seats went to paying customers, and the rest were offered free to people wandering in from the exhibition. Attendance was estimated 5,500, which I mean, the WWF in Canada always did well, so no surprise there.
Right, but if people are just walking in from the exhibition, though, then that doesn't really mean they paid, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Savio Vega pins Steve Austin following a spin wheel kick. Here they go again. The Godwins beat the Smoking Guns via DQ, and the Guns retained the WWF Tag Titles. Mark Marrow pinned Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Take that, Hunter.
Mankind beat Jake Roberts with the Mandible Claw. Let me see. I'm trying to read if this sounds interesting. Let's see. Before the match began, Roberts threw the snake on Mankind, and when referee Earl Hebner ordered Roberts to put the snake back in the bag, a comedy bit ensued as Hebner and announcer Bill Dunn argued over who should hold the bag open for Jake.
That was probably funny.
I'm sure it was. That's why I love house shows, man, because you get to see shit like that,
Right.
It's fun to go watch TV be taped, but house shows, let's be honest, they're better. Ahmed Johnson pinned Owen Hart with the Pearl River Plunge, and I'm sure this was kind of ugly at this time. Yokozuna pinned Vader. The show only lasted 90 minutes, and everyone seemed in a hurry to get through the show and prepare for the pay-per-view the next day, I'm sure.
That was a paid show.
Yeah.
WWE probably got $20,000 to be there or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but $20,000 Canadian is like $8 back then.
And now, the night after King of the Ring, WWF Raw live from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ahmed Johnson pinned Triple H to retain the Intercontinental title. And then we had a promo from Ahmed, which I'm sure was unintelligible, but he talked about being the first Black Intercontinental Champion, but he's a champion for all the people. I'm not going to do my Ahmed Johnson impression. I'm too tired tonight to do that.
Oh.
But it's one day I'll do it. It's unintelligible. God bless him. You know what, though? I want to say something. At that time, in that moment, I was actually a mark for Ahmed because the guy had the look, and he was not terrible in the ring. He really wasn't. He wasn't. I mean, obviously, he's not doing fucking planches and shit.
The thing is, he didn't look terrible in the ring, but he was terrible in the ring.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I
right.
Totally agree. But as a 15-year-old or whatever observer back then, just watching wrestling and not at this point, I wasn't reading dirt sheets or anything, not having not having the magic taken away.
Right.
Ahmed was cool, man.
Back in the day, you'd watch him and you'd be like, okay, this guy's a powerhouse. He could slam Yokozuna, he slammed Vader. He won the Intercontinental title. You watch it now and you're like, Jesus, he almost killed them. You know what I mean?
Getting
with the Ultimate Warrior.
Right.
Getting smart about wrestling really did ruin it for us, didn't it?
Well, it's
kind of.
You could recognize what a botch is now, as opposed to he just messed up a little, and realize how dangerous that botch could be. Yeah, it does take the luster away from him. So.
And you know what? You ever hear what Bill Watts wanted to call him?
What?
Bill Watts was like, when Ahmed came in there in '95, Bill Watts was around, and he was just thinking how Bill Watts is, big black baby face, not saying anything bad, saying this is something.
Right.
It's like it's the equivalent of Vince McMahon looking at somebody like Hulk Hogan or Lex Luger. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's Bill Watts as Hulk Hogan is a big, strong black superstar. That's how you build it around. And they were trying to come up with a name, and they knew they wanted to use the last name Johnson. And Bill Watts wanted to call him Buck Johnson.
Buck Johnson.
Jim Ross was like, nope. Jim Ross said he was like, nope, we ain't going with Buck. That ain't happening, buddy.
The Body Donnas, managed by their new manager, Cloudy.
Johnny Shoulders.
Yeah. Beat the Brooklyn Brawler and another jobber. It doesn't have a name here. And Sunny was on commentary during this match. Couple of things to note from her commentary. She reveals to bring in, she She revealed she planned to bring in a singles wrestler, which we know would obviously be Ron Simmons.
Right.
And then she also said, which apparently, obviously, Lawler snickered at because they were talking to her about the tag teams and having multiple tag teams. She said, "Do you think 2 men can keep me occupied?"
Oh, Lord.
So there was obviously some snickering going on at that. But the Body Donnas beat the Brawler and the
Jerry
other
Lawler's
jobber.
like, I've seen it. They can't.
They plugged Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty for next week's Raw and showed clips of their feud, including Michaels turning heel on Jannetty by throwing him through the glass window. McMahon said that while Michaels' career skyrocketed, Jannetty's fizzled.
Now, hang on. Are you calling Bobby Heenan a liar?
I'm not calling Bobby Heenan a liar.
Okay, well, Jannetty was a coward and tried to jump through the window.
That's a great... I love Bobby during that segment, too.
Yeah.
He's like, see, I told you they couldn't bring... Yeah, I told you so.
Yep.
I told you.
Tried to jump through the window, that coward.
And also, obviously, to promote the upcoming 6-man match that's going to be coming up at International Incident, which we will be talking about, the Owen Hart, the British Bulldog, and Vader beat Aldo Montoya, Savio Vega, and Barry Horowitz.
Now, that is an international incident.
Brian Pillman walked to ringside and said, "What I need to find out right now is who the hell do I need to talk to get my goddamn money? I've been in this promotion over a week. You've reaped the windfall of my signing. Where's my cash?" Who do I need to talk to in this promotion to get my goddamn money?
Mr. McMahon's like,
Pillman.
it's not me. Go see Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah. And Undertaker beat Steve Austin. Look at that, folks. Undertaker and Austin, just a throwaway main event on a Monday Night Raw in 1996.
Yep.
Undertaker beat Steve Austin via disqualification when Goldust threw glitter in the Undertaker's face. Because we're heading into we got Undertaker and the weird shit going on with Goldust and Mankind and Mommy and all that stuff's going on at this point.
Yep.
Anybody else think they had no fucking idea what they wanted to do with that thing? Like that was just like this. It's like all of this is weird. What are they doing?
I think that they wanted to give Mankind and Undertaker a nice slow burn and not keep having them fight each other. And they knew that they had to get the Survivor Series and the Boiler Room match at the other match, and so they figured let's involve Goldust because he's creepy and it'll turn the Undertaker off his game, but also Mankind will still be attacking him, so works out good for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They should have even had Marlena kind of be like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
Right? Why is this guy calling you mommy?
It's weird. I'm out of here.
I love you. I'm gonna stick around, but that shit's weird.
Yeah, I love you.
About that guy.
Man.
All right, now we'll move on to some WCW news from 25 years ago this week.
Ooh.
All sources indicate WCW is still deciding on who the third man will be on the Scott Hall and Kevin Nash team. The Lex Luger turn, which was supposedly slated at one point, is being reconsidered for a variety of reasons. If Luger doesn't turn, wrestlers considered and subsequently scratched were 1-2-3 Kid. He's locked into a WWF contract, which obviously he wasn't because he comes in soon. Jeff Jarrett locked into a WWF No Complete Cause through October. Also not true. Bret Hart, offers were made, but he's not eager to return to the ring yet, nor as part of a 3-man team has publicly sworn off a jump to WCW given the current landscape. And Bam Bam Bigelow. The 3 top candidates were Tatanka, Crush, and Mabel. Although none are considered blockbuster surprises by any means.
The only one I could have seen would have been Crush.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the only one that would have fit. Can you see Mabel as the third man?
Yeah. You know, well, that would have been horrible. Mabel in all black leather.
They all would have been. They all would have been horrible.
Yeah, but at least Bryan Adams might have been able to make it work. Might have been. I'm not saying definitely. But Mabel or Tatanka? Could you imagine Tatanka coming running to the ring in black and white feathers? You know what I mean? And be like, I'm in the NWO. Whoa. That would have been horrible.
Black and white feathers.
Well, because they were in black and white. I mean, you know. Or well, I'm sorry, Hall and Nash were in red and black. All right. But I mean, that would have made no sense.
Yeah, I don't. Sometimes I read this stuff from the sheets back then, and I think a lot of this is just fantasy booking in their mind.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive that neither Tatanka, Crush, nor Mabel were ever considered to be the third guy.
I could see Luger.
I could see they were contemplating, like WCW is contemplating signing these guys.
Right.
And that's why that's why the dirt sheets were like, oh, it's going to be this guy. That's the reason they said a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it, that they said it was going to be Bulldog because Bulldog wanted to leave. And then Vince gave him more money, so he stayed. You know, and they had Brett talk him into staying. And so, yeah, but I don't think there's a lot of things where Eric Bischoff's like, no, that was never the plan. But he's gone on record of being like, there was no way Mabel was going to be the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't talk to Mabel and say, hey, Mabel, maybe you want to come over. But he's like, he wasn't going to be the third guy.
Right.
He's always either going to be Sting or Hogan. And he just had Sting in the chamber in case Hogan got the day of. Was just like, nope, sorry, brother. Can't do it.
The facial bruises on Sullivan and Benoit at the pay-per-view were actually makeup. Luger and Giant, who wanted to follow, this is Great American Bash we're talking about here. Luger and Giant, who wanted to follow the football match at Great American Bash, were upset afterward. It's funny because essentially what they're saying here is Luger and Giant didn't want the Horsemen versus Kevin Green and Steve McMichael to go on last because they wanted to be the main event. Well, then the Horsemen, Kevin Green and Steve McMichael went out and had a great match, and then Luger and Giant got their main event but didn't get to live up to it. So now they're mad that they didn't do. You know, they kind of fucked themselves in that situation.
Yeah, shit. They actually did a good job.
Luger's like, they're going to stink up the place. We're going to go on last. Okay, no problem, Lex. Kevin Green surprises everybody. Bongo turns, you know, and then here's Luger. Fuck, I got to follow that.
I don't like when people shit on Steve McMichael either, because he was. I think that here's my thing about Steve McMichael. Steve McMichael was not in any way, shape, or form a very good wrestler. However, if you look at his style in the ring and what he was supposed to be, he didn't need to be a good wrestler. He needed to be a football player that was in the wrestling ring. Also, I think that of all the horsemen that ever were, he is one guy that I can say, if you look at it, Super Bowl ring, wealthy football player, how does he not fit into being a four horseman?
Like Smarty.
I'm not getting into this with you.
All right, we'll make that.
And he was funny and entertaining.
I'm not getting into this with you. No, you know what? He was on commentary for 2 years with a damn dog in his lap that he dressed up. He was clumsy. He couldn't throw a clothesline. He couldn't do
let me tell you something, Cupcake.
Okay. Deborah was the only redeeming quality about him, and she was annoying as AF. Okay? And on top of that, look, you put the guy in a suit, you let him stand behind Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. Yes, he was a horseman. But that's like saying you put Christian Bale in a suit, and that makes him Bruce Wayne, so he's okay to be Batman. And
that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going to say in that respect, I totally see what you're saying, Arch, and I kind of agree in that I think that he was fine to be in the Horsemen,
right,
and be in the tag team matches and be part of that group because, like I said, he seems like a guy that would roll with that crew.
Right.
I did not like Mongo after the Horseman thing died off, and then he was just like Mongo in his tights that didn't fit right, wrestling Hugh Morris or whatever on Nitro. That jumped the shark then. But I'm saying
didn't like Mongo as the U.S. champion either.
His run with the Horseman, I was okay with it. And you're right. I don't think they should have put a belt on him. And I kind of agree with you to the fact that they should have kept him in the background as more of an enforcer kind of guy.
You want to let him talk,
but
let him talk mean. Don't let him still be like you just. Let me tell you something, Cupcake Daddy. You know what I mean? That's not.
That's a shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a shirt.
Mongoisms. Yeah. Let me tell you something, Cupcake.
But I mean, there are guys who were great horsemen.
You don't want to watch that other show, buddy. You just put that in the toilet. He would just say shit like.
There were guys who were born to be horsemen: Tully, Ole, Arn, Flair, Luger, Wyndham, Sid, Malenko, Benoit. You know, and then there was Sting and Paul Roma, and Mongo's like right in the middle there.
I love when he goes, "Why don't you shut up over there, Bobby the Stain?" And then Bobby the Stain. He's like, "Bobby the Stain," and then Bobby's like, "Really? We're resorting to name calling now."
Bobby was the best when he was getting attacked, and he would act like a 15-year-old being told off by his 10-year-old brother. Like, really, this is what we're gonna do? Really?
Name calling.
Just a couple more WCW news items here, I guess, and then we'll roll into some TV tapings, for WCW real quick.
Ooh.
Pedro Morales will be in Conan's corner, and Bruno Sammartino will be a special referee at this upcoming weekend's Northeastern Invasion WCW tour. So Pedro and Bruno going to be on some WCW shows.
I think Pedro did.
He did Spanish commentary, didn't he, for them?
Yeah, for WCW.
With Rudy, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Terry Taylor re-signed with WCW and got a substantial raise, said to be double his previous pay, now in the $150,000 range. Terry Taylor,
jumped nobody's business.
Like he would, like, you talk about the guys jumping on TV. There was nobody in this era of wrestling that jumped behind the scenes more than Terry Taylor. Like, he would be working for the WWF, then he'd be in WCW, then he
was like Barrett, just behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. WCW, June 12th in Anderson, South Carolina at the Civic Center. Footage was taped for WCW Main Event and WCW Saturday Night. Marcus Bagwell beat VK Wall Street.
That was probably boring as shit.
Jim Duggan beat The Gambler. The Steiners. Jim Duggan beat The Gambler.
Oh, my favorite.
The Steiners beat Harlem Heat. Fire and Ice beat High Voltage. Yeah. Steiners and Harlem Heat always had good matches.
Yeah.
DDP beat Scotty Riggs. Arn Anderson beat Brad Armstrong. I bet that was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steve Regal beat Johnny Wild. I don't even know who that is. Who's Johnny Wild?
I have no fucking
Usually I know who the J Brones are. I'm like, yeah, that was this guy, but I have no idea.
Well, he has a twin brother who goes by Johnny Mild, and together they make up Mild and Wild.
Mild and Wild.
Yeah. No, I don't know who it is either. Actually.
The Giant beat Four Men, much like Sonny.
Oh God.
John Tenta. John Tenta beat Top Gun, who was actually David Sierra. And and Lex Luger beat the Barbarian. So there's that show. Have we got your money's worth if you went to that one, guys?
Yeah. Nobody paid to go to that.
I would have given 20.
That was papered.
June 19th in Gainesville, Georgia at the Georgia Mountain Center. Matches for the June 22nd and June 29th and July 6th editions of WCW Saturday Night were taped. Kevin Sullivan fought Pat Tanaka to a double countout. Hey, Kevin Sullivan and Pat Tanaka got some heat going on, reliving the Extreme right now.
Yeah,
as we're talking.
That's heat out here.
That's funny. Conan versus VK Wall Street to retain. Conan beat VK Wall Street to retain the U.S. title.
Probably a terrible match.
Harlem Heat beat Fire and Ice, after which Scott Norton and Ice Train exchanged words.
Oh, we're getting towards the breakup.
They actually just they just grunted and sweated on each other, really.
Yeah, but what Ice Train was really saying is, look, man, I got to go be with Teddy Long now while Nick Patrick screws over all his wrestlers. So you need to just go away and join the NWO when you're ready.
Medusa beat Debbie Combs. Damn, they dusted off Debbie Combs. All right. Lee Marshall interviewed Combs. Really? Who said she was here to be the only big girl in WCW, whatever that means. Rock and Roll Express beat Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit.
That was probably a great match.
Yeah, when Benoit tossed Morton over the top rope. So apparently we're still doing the top rope disqualification thing here. I thought that had died a long time ago.
You know, I was watching an episode of WCW.
Apparently not.
I was watching an episode from 1999 WCW, and I think it was, I don't want to lie to you, I know it was Ric Flair versus somebody, and he threw the guy over the top rope, and the announcer literally said he should be disqualified. And Tony Schiavone went, no, we're not doing that right now. And then continued on. And I swear, I went, so wait, all this time they would pick and choose when that rule was allowed?
That's a very Tony Schiavone thing.
Well, yeah. not to mention that's a very Tony Schiavone as WCW is dying thing, because he got to the point where he didn't give a fuck.
He didn't care.
He didn't fucking care. Like, who else are you gonna get to come announce this fucking shit?
Joey Styles ain't coming in.
What are you gonna get, Scott Hudson to replace me? You know what I mean? It was like Lee Marshall on standby. What are we doing here? You know, but the way you said it, like, he should be disqualified. No, we're not doing.
We're not
right
doing
now.
that.
And then he just moved on. He like segued into something completely different. And I'm like, fuck, they really picked and choose when they use that disqualification bullshit.
See, now he's funny. Okay, like, I don't always listen to his podcast, but if there's nothing else to listen to, I'll pop on and listen to fucking Conrad and Tony, you know. But so now he's like really funny. At that time, like, going back and watching him now, Tony was undercover funny back in like the early, like, back in this time.
He just said it because he knew in that company he was Teflon, you know.
Right.
Rey Mysterio Jr. on this card beat Billy Kidman. Jim Duggan beat the Gambler. John Tenta beat Earl Robert Eaton. That's a disgrace. Disco Inferno.
I wonder if Tenta shaved yet.
Disco Inferno beat Johnny Fever. Sting, Lex Luger, and Randy Savage beat Meng, Barbarian, and Max.
Max Muscle.
When Savage pinned Max.
Of course.
Dig it.
Was the only reason they put Max in the Dungeon of Doom, so he could lose to the bigger names.
Yep. Rock and Roll Express fought the American Males to a no contest. Chris Benoit beat Cobra.
Damn.
DDP beat Eddie Jackie. That's a funny name. And Sting, Lex Luger, and Savage beat Dick Slater, Michael Wall Street, and Mike Enos.
Okay.
And that was your Saturday night taping there from
Not
Gainesville,
bad.
Georgia.
It wasn't a terrible card, actually.
No, and you know, you can tell here because they had two appearances, you know. They're obviously talking up Bash at the Beach with Sting, Luger, and Savage and some six-man tag matches. And
yeah, they got a couple weeks of shows out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there wasn't like, okay, we're gonna tape this week and then we're gonna tape that week. They just taped some random bullshit and they were like, we'll just say we need to.
We'll see what fits when Saturday rolls around.
Yeah, throw it together. All right, so here we go. Run down Nitro really quick from this week. The Public Enemy defeated the Blue Bloods. Kevin Sullivan fought Kip Abbey to a no decision. Sullivan immediately threw Abbey into the crowd, or maybe AB, and up the stairs of the arena. Sullivan attempted to drag AB into the women's bathroom, but Doug Dillinger stopped him. Dean Malenko
went back to his old cop days, stopping a potential rape for Doug Dillinger.
Nobody told me my opponent was going to be AB.
I thought Doug stopped him because he wasn't tall enough to go into the women's bathroom, but okay.
Dean Malenko pinned Bobby Walker.
Hard work, Bobby Walker?
Yep.
Oh.
Now he's hardly working Bobby Walker.
Exactly.
Eddie Guerrero pinned Barbarian.
Really?
bet that was
That's a weird but probably good match.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, definitely. Like when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I bet that was pretty decent.
I mean, I know
You know,
Eddie
Eddie
doesn't
can
win a
sell.
lot, but
Barbarian's like, man, I had problems with Tito. Now I got problems with you. I got problems with these hardworking Mexicans, man.
We go out there, we have a good match, brother.
Yeah, but that was actually pretty good.
yeah.
Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit beat the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, a little payback from Saturday night.
Yeah. Let's see here. This was. Let me look at this. After the match, Joe Gomez ran out
Why?
to get revenge on the Horsemen.
He's like, I'm going to be in this feud. What do you want?
They beat him up in the hallway.
But Steve McMichael slapped him around until Kevin Green and Randy Savage ran to the ring.
Yeah, they had the Joe Gomez versus Steve McMichael at Bash at the Beach.
But
match.
Gomez ran out almost like he was saying, I'm going to be in this feud whether you want me there or
Yeah.
not. You know, I'm getting over. Michael's like, no, you're not. I told you you're not.
Diamond Dallas Page pinned Alex Wright. And Harlem Heat beat Sting and Lex Luger and the Steiners in a triangle tag title match when Booker T pinned Luger. Therefore, Heat won the tag team titles.
Right,
Luger was distracted when Hall and Nash entered the ringside area from the stands with baseball bats in hand. And that is how we ended the show.
Now, I've heard shoot interviews from Stevie Ray and Luger. They wanted the belts off Sting and Luger so that they could feud with the NWO and get to Bash at the Beach. But they didn't know that the Outsiders were going to come out with baseball bats and slam them against the steps.
Mm-hmm.
It threw everybody off, and the referee actually signaled for the bell, if you remember, during the match.
Right.
The bell never rang, but everybody thought the match was a disqualification loss, except for Harlem Heat, who capitalized and won. So it was a botched finish, but it was still supposed to be the finish.
There you go. And that is Nitro 25 years ago. And can we take a pee break, cigarette break deal?
I mean, if you have to, of course.
I definitely have to. I'll be back.
All right.
And then we'll do ECW and the Archie's favorite part, the indie results.
Yes. What you doing? Welcome back.
Thank you.
You didn't let that guy really get to you, did you?
Huh?
You didn't let that guy really get to you, did you?
No, fucking.
I don't know. I saw what he was saying, and I figured you were getting pissed.
At first I was, but
I don't know what his problem was because he was saying like 4 days ago that he's been in the hospital for a week and a half. So I would think somebody in the hospital would be a little nicer. You know what I mean?
And I didn't even say it, but I don't know.
You didn't say anything. You said DDP was trash. Why should that have been grounds for him to attack you?
I have no idea.
You know,
but not everybody's gonna like you, I guess. But no, I didn't let him get to me.
All right. Just when I saw him say I respect you, Booker man, like so he just basically called Aaron Kevin Sullivan.
No, he actually his insult was stupid, but he said like he basically was like, "I respect you, Junior Booker man." Like he's trying to like imply that I'm like a second fiddle to Nate or
You're
whatever.
not. You're not though.
I'm not. And I don't want to say it. He's said some shit about me before too, and I just kind of blew it off. So I don't know. If the guy doesn't like me, he doesn't like me. I don't give a fuck.
I honestly thought you guys were friends because I always see him like and comment on yours and Nate's stuff in a nice way.
I know.
And then all of a sudden he was attacking you, and I'm like, okay, is this a joke I'm not in on? And then when I saw him continue on, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
You know,
that's why I just said people got opinions. You know what I mean?
I know.
Well,
hopefully he doesn't like. Hopefully he doesn't want to fuck Mongo McMichael too, or he's gonna come after you, Archie.
I guess so. No, I've talked about my disdain for Mongo on every show we've ever done.
I've talked about my disdain for DDP on every single show we've done.
Right.
And if that guy wants to like him, fine. I don't give a shit. But that guy was just like I realized that he was somebody that was like friends with me on my regular Facebook. Because there's people that are on the We Can't or whatever that I'm friend like James Pinter and that Gary Lutz guy and Chris Saha and all those people.
Stay away from Gary Lutz. He'll put you in his basement and feed you with Latin girls that he chops up.
Okay. But then I saw that dude was somebody that I was like, I'm not going to be friends with you. Unfriend. And yeah, I don't know where all that shit came. I was like,
I don't. Maybe too much morphine or something because he's
I don't know. Like, this is late, and I've been drinking since 5.
Right.
Can't deal with this right now.
I'm sitting there going, okay, Aaron's about to go off. Aaron's about to snap up. And then when you just kept putting K, I'm like, oh God, he's so pissed he doesn't want to argue. And I've been there before. I know what that's like when you're so pissed, but you just don't want to be bothered arguing. You're like, fuck it, I'll just.
K isn't me mad. I use K as my way of telling somebody that I officially don't give a shit about what you think.
Right.
Like, it's not that I'm mad about it. It's that I don't care. I care so little about what you're saying that I'm not even going to form an entire sentence or use 2 letters and say, okay, it should be K. So now you're just having an argument with yourself. I even use it in real life, like when I'm talking to actual, like at work. When I have to deal with employees that have problems or beefs or they're complaining or they're trying to tell me why they shouldn't be in trouble and it becomes like 50 million different reasons and then I'm just finding it, okay, we're done. Like, We're talking in circles now. So I will audibly in real life look at somebody and go, okay,
Okay.
I'm done.
I just chalk it up to putting yourself out there as a public figure. Put yourself out there for criticism. Like I get feedback on the shows from listeners, mostly positive.
They all hate me, don't they?
No, but
Nobody hates you.
when I get negative feedback, to be perfectly honest with you, what I respond to them every time is I am sorry you did not enjoy the product. Thank you for your feedback. Smiley face. And then I move on with my life.
And
Fuck
I
'em.
did. That's
You
basically
know,
what
like-
I did to that guy. I just said,
Yeah.
okay. I said everybody has their own opinions, and people can state their own opinions.
And we also provide a product in the literally most trolly, critical fan base in the world, pro wrestling fans.
Right.
So it comes with the territory, fuck it, whatever. Like, if you don't want to listen, don't listen. I don't give a shit. We got good listenership. We're fine.
Or then when people are like, oh, DDP got the business, but he was 38 years old. Like, no, he didn't. He was 33, for one.
And he was in the business long before that.
Long before that, and he wasn't any good. So they said, we'll make you a manager. And then Eric Bischoff cuckolded him, and he got a job. You can edit all that out.
Don't forget, he drove Honky Tonk Man at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And like I said, that's the other thing that bugs me too, because then people will be like, well, DDP did this for this person, and DDP did that for that person. It's like when I say Diamond Dallas Page sucks, I'm not, and I put that on there too. I said I'm not saying that Paige Falkenberg is a shitty person.
Right.
I'm not attacking that. I'm not even attacking him when I said he sucks. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a DDP fan, so I'm going to state my opinion. I'm not saying that Paige is a bad dude. He seems like he's a genuinely nice guy that wants to help people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but as a wrestler, I just don't like him, and I don't understand why he got popular. I hate when people have to. I hate when everybody's like, oh, everybody's entitled to their opinion unless that opinion isn't the opinion that I believe. And then you're a piece of shit because you have your opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Or when everybody just likes every single wrestler. Like, oh, well, that guy is great. Why are you attacking him? Be like, well, because he sucked.
Dude, I said that Eva Marie shouldn't have been rehired, and I had 10 people jump on me. She's great. She's getting ratings. I'm like, she's a blow-up doll. She's a literal breathing, walking, talking blow-up doll. I'm like, that's the only reason they hired her is for her looks. And they fired her once for her looks before that. And they're, no, you're this. And then I once said something bad about Nikki Bella because she was like, we're coming back and we're going to win the women's tag team title. I'm like, please, and this was the Nikki Bella on Twitter. I said, please don't come back. You didn't do anything for women's wrestling as it is. We don't need you ruining it more. 9 soccer moms cursed me till I died, like I died on Twitter. I literally deleted my Twitter. Never again, because they were like, she gives us hope, and we love her. And I'm like, okay,
Bye.
bye.
Like Curly Bill in Tombstone. Well, bye.
Whatever. But yeah, that guy, he was just trying to get my goat, and he wasn't going to get it.
All right.
Well, from here on out, I will call you Booker Man.
Junior Booker Man.
No, I'm calling you Booker Man.
No, I'm the Junior Booker Man.
No, I will be.
I ride on Nate's coattails.
No.
No, that dude, basically, that's what he said. I ride on Nate's
Yeah,
coattails.
and he also called me the star. I'm the farthest thing from the star.
He said that I ride, basically, because he said it before. I ride on Nate's coattails, and I provide nothing to the shows.
That's the furthest thing from the truth.
Oh, we know that, and his opinion doesn't fucking
I'm
matter.
And did you notice what I just did there? I laughed because I was like,
I'm going to call you Booker Man, and whenever I do it, I'm going to put up a meme of Brian Pillman.
I want to be Booker Man Jr.
No,
Booker Man.
no, you were going to be Booker Man to me from now on. And I might even say it in an English accent like Booker T. Booker Man.
I respect you, Junior Booker Man.
Booker Man.
Until Nate was like, I don't even know what that fucking means.
Right. At first, I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then I realized he's basically doing the Brian Pillman, Kevin Sullivan segment.
All right, here we go.
That was a previous comment that he said. He said, you provide nothing to the podcast and just ride your brother's coattails. Like, well, Nate wears a lot of T-shirts.
Nate doesn't wear a coat.
Never seen him in tops and tails.
Yeah. Shoot your own podcast. Whatever. I know what I do.
All right, and now that we have discussed Monday Nitro from 25 years ago, let's talk about ECW TV, which is always fun because reading the results of an ECW TV show it's a clusterfuck. So
yeah,
here we go. Joey Styles introduced the program and ran down the lineup for Hardcore Heaven. Styles then said he wished at this time he could say goodbye and good riddance to Pillman, but he can't because he still plans to use ECW as a forum to express his controversial opinions.
And that is partially a shoot because Joey has gone on record of saying that he fucking hated Brian Pillman in ECW. Fucking hated him.
Yep. And I can see why, like being in that, what do I want to say? You didn't know what you were going to get with Pillman,
Right.
Like Joey basically said that he knew that Brian was working people, but he didn't think it was right that he was working like the boys and Paulie's like parents, and like he said that like he took a shit on like Paulie's parents' floor, like bathroom floor, because he was in and stuff like that, and he's just said Joey basically went on record saying he had no enjoyment working with Brian Pillman in the brief time that Pillman was there.
The Sandman pinned Lord Stevie Richards with Sir Blumini. When Richards served Missy Hyatt with legal papers by sliding them between her breasts, Styles said he could serve her too. We'll just leave that there.
Yeah, the less said about that, the better.
ECW Missy was hot. Yeah, it wasn't as hot as '93 with the Nasty Boys Missy, but she was hot.
Raven attacked Sandman afterward.
Like that's Sabu between Missy. Sorry, I'm going to talk about like they talk about like '80s Missy. 80s Missy was pretty good looking, but like 93 through like 96 Missy was hot. You know what I mean?
She had that little bit of dirtiness to her.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a pervert. That's saying. Go ahead.
You already did. Don't worry about it. We're fine.
Sabu,
10-year-old through 13-year-old Aaron loved him some early 90s Missy Hyatt.
Sabu pinned Mikey Whipwreck at 16:35. Sabu launched off a chair over the ropes, DDT'd Mikey through the table, which was setting on the edge of the ring and security railing.
Sounds like a very long Mikey Whipwreck Sabu match.
Poor Mikey.
Here we go. Mikey. Here we go. Listen to this. This is why I say reading results from an ECW show is not only, it's like surreal, I guess is what I'll say. It's surreal for when I just read it as I'm not a journalist, but you know what I mean. Here we go. And the thing I love about it is, and this has already happened just in the 2 shows that we've done of this, the 3 of us together. When I read this stuff and try to read it seriously, you guys always laugh at me, which is fantastic. Yes. But anyway, here we go. Getting serious. A segment aired with Raven and Stevie Richards. Raven said Divine Brown hadn't been with enough men, and he wanted Richards to bring him an even skankier woman. Richards then brought him to Blue Meanie doing a Gold Dust imitation. He lay naked with only a doll covering his crotch.
Oh, God.
He was smothered in glue gunk and quoted movies. He turned to a dusty imitation at the end. Raven said he isn't feminine enough. Richards told Meanie, I told you it wouldn't work. Meanie concluded with a deep breath and said blue dust. So there you go.
God.
That's ECW for you,
That's
folks.
where they went off the air?
No.
That's how they... Oh, okay.
No. A Pulp Fiction montage aired.
Of course.
Yeah.
Richards sprayed down Meanie with a hose. Meanie began dancing and singing I'm a Maniac.
I remember that.
Meanie said Chris Farley should watch out. Meanie turned the hose on Richards. It's just fucking stupid.
Oh, God.
All right. Devon
The
Dudley.
hose or the hose, like Divine Brown and Missy? Or-
HOSE.
Okay.
Devon Dudley slammed both Sign Guy Dudley and Dances with Dudley against a wall, insisting the Dudley boys are his family, not Big Dick's family. Soundbites also aired with Tommy Dreamer, the Gangstas, Shane Douglas, the Eliminators, the Samoan Gangstas, Paul Valorans. Did I get his name right this week, Archie?
No.
Okay.
Varlins.
Taz and Bill Afonso, Raven, and Paul E. Dangerously. It concluded with Sandman saying, I'm running out of friends to drink with. Dick Murdoch, this one's for you. Then he guzzled a beer. Magic and I talked about...
when Dick died.
Yeah, Magic and I talked about it last week on the show. This was Dick Murdoch had recently passed away, so that was ECW TV for that week. This week, 25 years ago. I think there is actually an ECW. Yes. All right. ECW Arena report here.
Okay.
Kind of a historic night, I guess. Here we go. Paul Heyman called the June 22nd ECW Arena the best show we've ever had and the most taxing. He said he was most pleased with the way the locker room came together in dealing with the collapsed ring, which caused a 1-hour delay. Heyman offered refunds near the end of the 1-hour delay because it was past midnight before the main event began. Although several reports cite people leaving at the time, Heyman said no one requested a refund.
Because you couldn't afford it, but okay.
Sabu worked the ECW Arena main event with an injured neck, and Van Dam injured his knee the night before on a splash to the floor. Given the 1-hour delay to fix the ring and questionable condition of the ring, Sabu and Van Dam could not have worked, but instead put on what all reviews peg as a great performance. Here you go. Because the ring was taking so long to fix, Kimona did a striptease on the stage, which pretty much occupied the fans and prevented a riot.
Right.
So that is the night that Kimono Wanalea danced atop the ECW arena.
And they would play that on every single
Every
ECW
episode.
show.
They were
the
selling
rest
a
of
VHS of it. They were just that. Her dancing on the ECW arena.
Yep. All right, let's see. On the road for ECW.
Nate, hold on. Bit of trivia. Kimona Wanalea went to WCW. What was her name?
I know what it was.
Don't say anything, Aaron.
Shit. She was with Kevin Sullivan and the Varsity Club, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her name was... Damn it, I can't remember.
I know what it was.
Tell him, Aaron.
Lay Meow.
Yep.
Leia Meow, yes.
Leia Meow. And then she was with the Young Dragons after that.
Yeah, the Jung Dragons. Who was the Jung Dragon? Who was
Jamie
the Jung
Noble.
Dragon?
Jamie Noble.
Yeah.
Jamie Noble, baby.
Gonna get us that double wide, honey.
All right, let's see here. We have on the road ECW June 14th in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. The Bad Crew beat Bubba Dudley and Devon Dudley via DQ. Who's the Bad Crew in ECW?
They were just two random guys in like hockey jerseys. They weren't.
Oh, was that
great.
Johnny Hotbody was in that team, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. JT Smith and Little Guido beat Devon Storm and Sal Balomo.
Oh. That was probably
Paul-
a technical masterpiece.
Paul Varlins
Thank you.
beat Jason Helton. Mikey Whipwreck beat Stevie Richards. The Eliminators beat the Gangstas. The Bruise Brothers beat Axel and Hack Myers. Taz beat Sandman, and Pitbull number 2 beat Shane Douglas. And Raven beat Tommy Dreamer. June 21st in Plymouth Meeting,
Can I ask a
Pennsylvania.
question? Not to make
Sure.
your show go too long.
Oh, no.
Do you think if Pitbull 2 wouldn't have been, because everybody knows how he passed away or whatever, like, do you think if he wouldn't have had those problems, do you think he would have wound? I don't think Gary Wolf would have. Do you think Pitbull 2 would have been able to, like, make it to the WWF or not? Because he had
For a little while. For a little while, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think that had he come along 4 to 5 years earlier, most definitely, because, and I'm not comparing Warlord was more jacked than him, but like body type and everything, I kind of compare him to the Warlord, but he was, and I'm a Warlord mark, but Pitbull 2 was actually better in the ring than the Warlord, you know?
Well, everybody was.
But, shut up.
Well, I like Warlord too, but he wasn't that great.
But yeah, I mean, I think he could have made it in the WWF.
Yeah.
And I think that Gary Wolf could have too. I mean, to be honest with you.
They had tryouts, but Vince wasn't hiring them. I don't know if he knew the story behind them or if he just wasn't trusting them or you know, but they had a couple of tryouts, and I think they were even on an episode of Sunday Night Heat or one of the, you know, B shows. But
yeah,
you know, they were billed under their real names, Gary Wolf and Anthony. I forgot what Pitbull's name was. Durante, yeah. But I think Vince might have known, or maybe Paulie tipped Vince to know that they were, you know, steroids and drugs and things like that. So he didn't want Vince to turn around and go, "Hey, what did you sell me?" You know.
June 21st in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, at the Lulu Temple.
Ooh.
Devon Storm and Damian Kane beat Bad Crew. The FBI beat Hack Myers and Axel Rotten. Eliminator Cronus beat Mikey Whipwreck. Raven and Stevie Richards beat the Dudleys. Rob Van Dam beat Chris Jericho, but that was good.
Yeah, that had to be.
But that was really good in ECW, buddy. And let's see, Taz and Bill Alfonso beat Todd Gordon and Sandman. I bet that wasn't good. And Pitbull number 2 beat Eliminator Saturn in an extreme death match, whatever that would have been.
The Pitbulls and the Eliminators had a war for a while.
Yeah. Shane Douglas beat Sabu.
Wow.
The Bruise Brothers and Brian Lee, who would later be the Disciples of Apocalypse, by the way, beat the Gangstas and Tommy Dreamer in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Yeah, they were pushing Brian Lee pretty hard here.
Yeah. He
was beating Tommy at everything.
Let's see here. See if there's anything in the ECW notebook for news. Terry Gordy, who has suffered 2 near-death drug-related seizures in recent years, leaving him not nearly the worker he once was, has been heavily praised for his output as a surprise opponent for Raven. He'll be an ECW regular. Paul Heyman says he owes Gordy a favor because Gordy stood up for him when Heyman was accused of wrongdoing when both were in WCW under Bill Watts' management. Paul Heyman accused of wrongdoing. Who knew? Who would have thunk that would ever happen?
No, Watts was just picking on
him. Jericho is committed to ECW at least through the end of summer. I don't think that turns out to be true.
That was a big fat lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jericho not long till he comes into WCW here.
Yeah, he wins the TV title for like a month and then he's gone.
Here's some ECW. This is fun. Before the ECW arena card, ring announcer Joey Gertner, he's called here. Ring announcer Joey Gertner talked about being with the company for 9 months. Sandman came out and caned him. And, of course, Bob Ortiz took his place.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, that was the precursor to Joel then turning
Mhm.
and becoming the Joel Gertner we all love,
Yes.
or I know
Yes.
I love.
Yes.
Yeah, he started with Shane's ring announcer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then he moved to the Dudleys, and then he just became his own man.
And what a gimmick! Like at that time in that place, what a fucking gimmick, man.
The quintessential stud.
I would look
Yeah.
forward
That's a
to
great
every
fucking
week.
nickname.
The fucking neck brace with the bow tie on it.
Every week
But
I would look.
just the nickname alone.
The nickname,
quintessential stud muffin.
but I used to look forward to every week him coming out and adding to it.
Mhm.
Like he'd come out and be like, "I'm Joel, the quintessential stud muffin." And then he'd go into the girls all want to be me, the guys want to meet me.
I'm
You know what I mean?
I'm like Fred Flintstone because I'm gonna make your bed rock.
And
Yeah.
every week he would pop me. Didn't matter what he said.
And then he'd pause for a second, and then he'd go,
Gertner.
Well, that's it for ECW, and now we move on to Archie's main event.
Yes.
Archie loves the indie results.
Yes.
So here we go. 25 years ago.
see if Chad keeps his belt.
Yeah.
All right. Insane Championship Wrestling, June 8th in Detroit, Michigan at the Motor City Sports Club. Promoter Malcolm Monroe, debut show. Rhino Richards, we all know who that is.
Yes.
The future Rhino beat Briar Wellington.
Oh,
That sounds like a dish that Gordon Ramsay would make.
Mm-hmm.
It's raw. The Briar Wellington is raw. Zach Wilde beat Big Daddy Adams.
Last name doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Adams.
Alexis Machine. I'm trying to figure out if Alexis Machine is a tag team because it says Alexis Machine beat Doug and Dan Shell.
Has to be a tag team then.
No, I bet Alexis Machine was probably some big fucker, and they just put him in a handicap match.
What if it was a girl?
Oh my.
Alexis Machine. She comes out.
Yeah. It just
300
beats up these two guys. Johnny Swinger with his manager, Handsome Johnny Bradford. The manager and the wrestler probably should have the same name.
Yeah. And similar gimmick. Like once be like, yeah, what?
Which one of you is wrestling tonight? I guess me. It's my turn.
Well, Johnny Swinger beat Loco.
Not Loco.
Yes. I'm sorry, Archie.
Damn it.
And let's see here. Killer Kennerek fought Wild Bill Scullion to a no contest.
Sounds like a bad eye problem. He's got a Killer Kennerek.
The guy sounds like a fucking pirate.
Right.
Arr.
Wild Bill Scullion.
Oh, Aaron, I got it. That's how he became a pirate. He lost his eye to a Killer Kennerek.
And in the main event, the Headbangers beat Dirty Texas.
Not our Headbangers, but the Headbangers?
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah.
Wow.
Beat Dirty Texas. That's the team of Tex Monroe and Psycho Rick.
Really? Well, Tex Monroe, Texas.
Yeah.
Should the other guy have been like Dirty Rick?
Right.
You know?
Dirty Rick.
Dirty Rick.
Dirty Texas sounds like something you do to a chick.
Yeah.
You throw sand in her face, and then
it's like, yeah, man, that girl was a freak. She let me hit her with the Dirty Texas.
I heard you went out with Missy last night. That's right. She let me give her a Dirty Texas.
Just so you know, there's open pit barbecue sauce involved in that. June 7th in Dallas, Texas, at the Sportatorium. Yes, in '96, people are still running the Sportatorium. It is the Continental Wrestling Association. Johnny Mantell.
They're trying to play off a lot of stuff with this. Sportatorium. Let's call it Continental.
Right.
They're gonna think some people are here, and they ain't gonna be there.
Well, I guarantee you, Lance Von Erich is there. 'Cause he
There
ain't
are
got nothing
there
going
are
on.
some names on this show. Johnny Mantell beat Treach Phillips Jr.
Okay.
He was a shell of his father. Treat Phillips Sr. was so much better.
Deep cut. Terry Gordy beat Sean Summers.
Okay.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Action and Al Jackson.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
see, Action Jackson. They're trying to.
Beat the Sicilian Studs, which were Guido Falcone and Vito Mussolini.
Those are some names.
Greg Valentine beat Casey Canyon. Scott Putski fought Firebreaker Chip to a double countout.
Oh my fucking god!
Who decided to book Firebreaker Chip after?
Oh my fucking god! You know how terrible that probably was.
I thought Scott Putski was Firebreaker Chip.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just a joke. It's a joke.
Damn.
Who was no wrestler that ever just looked more like a monkey than Firebreaker Chip?
But yet refused to be like called Tarzan. He had to be Scott Putski. You know, that's the guy that could have
Firebreaker
pulled
Chip
off.
looked like a monkey, like a monkey. Like he had like a monkey face, he had like big monkey arms.
His tag team partner was in WCW was Todd Champion.
Firebreaker Chimp.
Firebreaker Chip.
Shit. Wild Bill Irwin and Mike Blackheart defeated the Jacksons, Action and Al.
They got double booked?
Yeah, they did.
Jesus.
Listen to this team. Sam Houston and Charlie Norris
Wait. Go on.
beat Rod Price and Killer Brooks.
Okay. I always thought Sam Houston and Charlie Norris were the same person.
No,
I
not
legit-
even close. Charlie Norris was a Native American warrior, and Sam
Houston
was Jake Roberts' little brother.
Yeah, I thought that when he went to WCW as Charlie Norris, that was Sam Houston, though. Changing his, I was a cowboy all these years and I didn't make it, so I'm going to be an Indian now in WCW.
And
they beat Rod Price and Killer Tim Brooks.
God, how old is Tim Brooks here?
Man, I don't know. I'm pretty old.
67 years old.
Los Panteras Negras. The Black Panthers, for anybody that knows Spanish.
I thought it was something bad, worse.
Beat Hurricane Mike Dahl and Casey Canyon. Terry Gordy beat Greg Valentine. You know, at this stage, those two were just...
That was probably terrible.
Yeah, they were just walking around.
Oh, my God.
Collecting a paycheck.
Smacking each other every now and then.
Valentine made her take a piss break.
Just hanging out. It was brutal.
All right, here we go. All-State Pro Wrestling, June 6th in Shelbyville, Tennessee, at the Stattern Cab Building. I don't know what that means.
I have a question.
Sure.
The guy who does the voiceovers for Allstate, the insurance company, is he the commentator at this wrestling company?
You're in terrible hands with All-State Pro Wrestling.
That's a back elbow.
Only 2 of the matches listed in these results. Yoshi Kwan beat Corey Williams.
Wow.
And Ashley Hudson and Kid Sensation beat Strictly Business.
That's weird because that's the team name in NWA now with Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
So
let's see here. Peach State Wrestling, June 7th in Cordele, Georgia, with an audience of 175 in attendance.
Woo! Sellout crowd.
David Jericho fought Carolina Kid to a double countout. Malaya Hosaka defeated Candy Divine via disqualification.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Joey Maggs beat Fred Avery.
Joey Maggs got time off of WCW to go be on a
I guess
show.
he did. And so did the Rock and Roll Express because they beat, that's right, well done, Rex King and Steve Dahl.
That was good. But
That was probably great.
Terry Taylor beat Billy Black via disqualification.
Taylor was there scouting.
So Black retained the Cordele City title. What an esteemed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that belt has roots like the NWA title.
It's a hubcap.
Yeah,
Like a chain.
it's got some rope on it, so you can put it around your waist.
It's the hubcap on the chain on the key that you got to get at the gas station to use the
Right.
ship.
Right. So when this show is going on and this match happens, nobody can go to the toilet at the bathroom at the gas station. Dude, where's the key? There's a wrestling match tonight. Damn it.
One more show, guys.
Never gonna hear that name again.
National Wrestling Alliance, June 9th, Yardville, New Jersey.
Ooh.
Where's Yardville, New Jersey? I mean, I know it's in Jersey, Archie, but is that like a suburb or?
Yeah, it's a deep suburb just outside of Pennsylvania.
Well, Mr. Puerto Rico
Uh-huh.
beat Gino Caruso.
Well, good for him. I don't know why he was there.
The Inferno Kid and Ace Darling beat PG-13.
That was probably a decent match.
Boogie Woogie Brown. Anybody know who Boogie Woogie Brown was?
I've heard the name before. I've just never
I've
seen
heard the
him
name
wrestle.
too, and it almost seems like he's somebody like that. I should know who he is, but anyway, beat Rick Ratchet.
Damn.
I remember this name from all the Pro Wrestling or the Pro Wrestling Illustrated results and stuff back in the day.
Mhm.
Twiggy Ramirez.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a name that stands out to me. Beat
He was in
Go ahead.
every Eastern wrestling company.
He's like the Metal Maniac, or
Yeah. Yeah. You need somebody in Florida on a Monday, and then somebody in Georgia on a Tuesday, and then somebody in Jersey on a Thursday. Call Twiggy.
Twiggy's your guy. He beat Mike Vanetta.
Okay.
Ghetto Blaster. Pinned Rocco Dorsey.
I picture an off-brand Bad News Brown when I hear that name, Ghetto Blaster.
Ghetto Blaster, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bear Billy Sharecroppers.
You probably just know Boogie Woogie Brown from like magazine and art, like results.
Yeah,
Probably,
a lot of
yeah.
results too.
But he died in 2007.
Oh.
Damn.
Oh, and it was on June 23rd. So just
Well,
like
shit.
a couple
So-
days ago was the
so-
anniversary death of this fat
If we would have recorded this like 4 days earlier,
Boogie
we
Woogie
could have
Brown.
been celebrating his anniversary.
Tommy Fierro
I've
beat
heard that
Dennis,
name before.
beat Dennis Coraluzzo
What?
via knockout
Oh, this is that boxing match.
in a round of boxing when
Oh.
Jim Cornette loaded his glove with water.
Yeah, this is that boxing match that Cornette talks about all the time. That was the worst fucking thing he's ever seen in a wrestling ring until E AEW.
Per the match stipulations, Coraluzzo must now adopt Fierro.
Wow.
That sounds like something AEW would do.
Yeah, Russo said this was the worst thing that ever happened. Or not Russo, but Cornette. said the worst thing that ever happened.
I didn't think anything could top Dominic Mysterio on a pole, but a boxing match to adopt your opponent. Wow. What was the stipulation if Coraluzzo won?
Right.
You gotta go live in a gutter? I didn't know.
I just sent you guys a picture of Boogie Woogie Brown.
All right, let me look at this in real time as we're on the show, folks. As we're on the air. Jesus.
Oh, God.
That's his promotional shot.
He's definitely boogieing and woogie in there.
Never mind. I ain't gonna say it. We canceled.
I don't know. Okay, so after this Coraluzzo thing,
He looks like he ate Coco Beware. I'm sorry.
And that's
He
how he
ate-
got diabetes.
he also ate pork chop. Cash. Bad Attitude. That's their name. Bad Attitude beat Sons of the Gustavo. I don't even know what that means. Like, was there a guy named the Gustavo? I don't know, but
Apparently his sons were pissed.
you could read this, ladies and gentlemen, if you were a wrestling fan in the 90s and you got the wrestling magazines, you know how many times this match happened. King Kong Bundy beat Johnny Gunn.
Oh yeah.
King Kong Bundy and Johnny Gunn was one of the Northeast
Evelyn Road Show.
Yeah,
I was just about, it was a staple in the eastern and northern seaboards.
Yes, and then
No,
in the main event, Tommy Cairo beat Ian Rotten and Derek Domino in a 3-way match.
Now, this is what I wonder. Promoters like, we need a big name for the show this week. Yeah, we do. What should we do? Let's get King Kong Bundy. All right, they get Bundy on the phone. King Kong. Yeah, we want you for a show. Oh, no problem. I'll be there. Who am I fighting? We haven't ironed that out yet. Well, look, I've been beating Johnny Gunn's ass all over. Just book him. And the promoter was like, fuck yeah. We can get him for $250 and a sandwich.
Yeah. Sincerely,
right.
I am gonna run that fucking shit. I work that goddamn sincerely thing into every show I possibly can because I think it's hilarious. Well, there you have it, the indie results from 25 years ago, and once again we recapped a week worth of news, TV results, house show results, etc. here on the Slice of Time show on WrestleNet Radio. I want to thank Archie and Aaron for being here with me again this week.
You're welcome, senior
Always a
booking
pleasure.
man.
You call me old?
I'm the junior booker man. You're the senior booker man.
And apparently I'm the star. I don't know when that happened, but okay.
Well, don't forget to check out here on WrestleNet Radio, of course, if you smell what the Arch is cooking on Thursday nights at 8 p.m.
Yes.
You can check, of course, this show out. And the new show on Monday nights at 7 p.m., the Wrestling Wise Guys are on. And, of course, Maximum Gold with myself and David Gold. Whenever David has time to do his show, we will record that one and air that. Also, if you're out there and you're listening, you can hear episodes, of course, of Reliving the Extreme on this network. But if you want to check it out on any podcast app, every single Saturday, myself, Aaron, and ECW's Chad Austin talking about the history of ECW as we chronicle it week to week. A great show, a great time.
Fun discussions and side stories. And
yes, it's fantastic. It's so much fun to do.
And don't forget about Aaron's new show.
Well, I don't know what
The
day
year
I'm
that
going to be doing it every time.
And I know that, but they should check out this new episode of We Can't Wrestle podcast. So this way they can hear the pilot episode and see how it went. And then you guys could let us know what night Aaron should do it. And then he can try to do it or fit it in.
It's in Archie's contract that he dominates Thursday nights, Aaron. So I'm sorry.
I'll share it with Aaron. No, if there's anybody I'll share Thursday night with, well, he'll be like the friends to my Seinfeld.
Like the junior version of Thursday.
Oh my God.
Thank you for joining us on Slice of Time. We'll see you next week, everybody.
I don't contribute nothing.
Have a great week.
And thank you for once again taking a slice of our time.
Aha.